Hi everyone, it's Susan. You may have heard about hardballing. That's our discussion today. What is hardballing? Hardballing is the act of being open, transparent, and telling your new date exactly why you're dating. It can save you a lot of tears and save you a lot of time. You might have read some of my articles about this. You may have heard it. You may have done it naturally from day one, been very honest and spoken up. But there's an art to it. And in the effort to be direct, we also need to be diplomatic, and the worst thing we want to do is to repel somebody who would have actually been a very good match for us. So today I'm reading a question that came in from one of my longtime subscribers. His name is Henry. He's quite a gentleman. He does everything well. He wants to be in a serious relationship. And so here's what he wrote me. Dear Susan, I recently went on a date that turned unexpectedly. It was going quite well. I gave her a red rose on the way to dinner. I told you, he was a real gentleman. We went for a nice walk after the date. As I walked her to the car, she asked me what I wanted. Did I want a relationship? Yes, I'm open to a relationship. Then she asked me to get married and if I want children. All on the first date. I answered no to those. How could anyone answer those questions on the first date? A few days later, she sent me an email saying she just wanted to be friends. Was I wrong? No, you weren't wrong given the context. And here is the art and diplomacy in your effort to hardball. Hardball doesn't mean like you throw a really fast ball at them. It means you are simply being clear and direct. Now, years ago, before this term came out, I think I did it instinctively, as I'm sure many of you do. I would go on a date with somebody, especially online, that I didn't know, that came out of nowhere, and just to make sure, I would ask them point blank, are you open to the possibility of a relationship? It's a very delicate way of allowing them an out. You cannot say, do you want a relationship with me? That's crazy making. You just met them. They can't answer that. And if they're not sufficiently attracted, they can't begin to make that kind of a commitment to you. So we have to go in stages. Primarily, if you're dating online, you put that in your profile. Now, many people put it in their profile. It's just a game for them. They know they don't want a relationship. They just want sex. But even so, you do the preliminary. Then you ask again when you're on the date if that's what you want. Whatever it is, if you want a summer fling, if you want an open relationship, are you open to the possibility of polyamory? Whatever your thing is, because in truth, it will waste a lot of your time if that person is not of that lifestyle disposition. Do you understand what I'm saying? People do monogamy, people do open, people do all sorts of things. I know that you feel that it's uncomfortable, and again, it's not the first thing that comes out of your mouth, but at some point in the conversation, it should be brought up, just so you don't waste your time. And the point is, it's not that they need to do it with you, it is in general. And this is where this lady made her mistake, because my feeling from this and from the writer of this note to me is that he really does want a relationship and really liked her and wanted to make a good impression, and she blew it because she pushed too hard too soon, and it was not generic. Like, do you want a relationship? It was, do you want a relationship with me? See, he had no problem with tier one, do you want a relationship? Where he had his problem, as any of us would, is, do you want to get married and have kids? Because the way she stated it was to her. That was too much. So if you have a large game plan like that, also don't do it as you're exiting during the night. I would suggest more during the entree. You talk about it. You're like, oh, really? Oh, you do? Oh, you're open to a relationship. So, okay, that's cool. So in that, like, how do you see, are you open to marriage? Do you like to live together? Give them some options. Don't make it so definitive, because people, even if they like you, may just retract because it feels like so much pressure. Again, the beauty of hardballing is to be very clear on where you put your time and energy. But the art of the conversation is timing, diplomacy, and how much you lay out in general terms. Imagine if you ask somebody to marry you on the first date. I mean, so the way this rolled out, this was an error of communication, overly excited or maybe overly guarded, that somebody has guarded themselves for so long that they are hoping to eliminate all pain, so that if they got the message to hardball, their understanding was, I've got to get it all in the plate right away. If they don't want marriage and they don't want kids, then I've got to say no. And I understand that you can't waste time, especially if you have a time clock, but sometimes the way you say it. There are people who meet somebody and they know they want a relationship, but the rest evolves. They're not closed to marriage, but they don't want to get married today. Or they didn't know they wanted to get married, but they are actually very honest when they say, if it's the right person. It's like, if it's that serious and that's wonderful, I may really want that. So let us use judgment, discretion, timing, and diplomacy when we are using hardballing, so that we don't repel somebody who could have been a connection. Yet, we save ourselves time and tears. Susan Winter for SusanWinter.net. Thank you for coming to my channel. And if you have a question for me, like Henry, go to SusanWinter.net, go to the last page, the contact page, underneath the media. You will see a big box that says video requests. That comes there. And also sign up for my newsletter on the main page. I don't sell it. I don't do anything like that. Get a consultation. That's on the consultation page. And you can listen to all of this on the Susan Winter Show on iHeartRadio or Spotify. Thanks a lot.